Do the Seattle Mariners have a pitching problem? Let's talk about it. So before you yell at me and say the Mariners don't have a pitching problem, it's just an offensive problem, I just kind of want to go through some statistics based on the team's pitching so far and also go over two guys mainly and kind of why they're struggling going into this season. So in reality, do the Mariners have much of a pitching problem? No, they will figure it out going deeper into the season. But I want to primarily focus on two pitchers, and that's George Kirby and Luis Castillo. Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller are doing very well so far this season, and Emerson Hancock is kind of just doing, I guess, what we kind of expected, except a little worse, especially in that Brewers game. His biggest problem is he really doesn't have a put-away pitch to really get guys out on. So we really miss Brian Wu in that sense, and hopefully he can come back soon. We haven't heard much on him. But I want to start this video with some statistics based on how the starting pitching has done so far this year and where they rank among league averages. So we're going to go over 3 bad statistics and 3 good ones. So currently in terms of ERA throughout the league, the Seattle Mariners rank 25th with a 5.04 ERA as a team. In terms of home runs per 9, the Seattle Mariners rank 23rd with a 1.28 home run per 9. And to go along with that, the Seattle Mariners are top 5 for most home runs given up so far this season at 15. So again, while some of those statistics are not really what we expected them to be at this point in the season, we expected the pitching staff to really carry us, which for the most part, they pretty much have because the offense really hasn't shown much, except yesterday they finally scored 6 runs, which was a shocker. But in terms of WAR, the Seattle Mariners rank 14th in pitching WAR with a 0.9. In terms of Ks per 9, the Seattle Mariners rank 9th with an 8.97 K per 9, which is pretty good. And in terms of walks per 9, the Seattle Mariners are also top 5 with a 2.65 walks per 9. Again, in those aspects, they're doing exactly what we expected them to do, be a high strikeout and low walk pitching staff. But now let's get really down to the nitty-gritty of Luis Castillo and George Kirby's struggles so far this season. So we'll start off with Luis Castillo. So far, Luis Castillo in 2024 is 0-3. He started in 3 games. He's only pitched 15.2 innings. He has a 10.34 K per 9, a 2.3 walk per 9, and a 1.15 home run per 9, where his ERA is also sitting at 6.89, which for Luis Castillo is absolutely extremely high. But when you dig deeper into the numbers, you can kind of see why he's struggling so much this year. And when you dig deeper down into the numbers, you can see why Luis Castillo is really struggling to just get out of innings and really strike out a lot of guys this season. When I compare his 2023 numbers to his 2024 numbers, as we know, this sample size is much smaller. It's only 3 games versus however many he pitched last year, which was a lot. But either way, you can still see right away in some of the numbers why he's struggling to get guys out. So the number one thing when you look at Luis Castillo's stats digging down deeper, the biggest problem for him is his whiff percentage. On his 4-seam fastball in 2023, he had a 33% whiff rate. While this so far in 2024 on his 4-seam, he only has a 20% whiff rate. So that's 13% drop off so far. On his slider, which is also one of his very good pitches in 2023, he had a 37.8% whiff rate. And so far this year, he only has a 29% whiff rate. So pretty much a little bit over 8% drop off there. In terms of his sinker in 2023, it had a 13.6% whiff rate, and in 2024, it actually has a 0% whiff rate. And on his changeup in 2023, he had a 32.5% whiff rate, and so far in 2024, he has a 21.7%. So a little over 11% drop off. And basically just to give you guys a complete average of all these pitches combined compared to his last season, in 2023 in total he had a 30.6% whiff rate, while so far this year he only has an 18.4%, so 12% drop off there. And you can truly just see it when he's pitching. He'll get really into a really good count and all of a sudden he'll leave a fastball over the middle of the plate and he'll drive it for a double or a home run or whatever it may be. His problem is really his command. He really can't command any of his pitches right now. You can tell just when he's out there on the mound, he gets frustrated with it. And a guy with his ability, the way his pitches move, he really should be putting away a lot more guys than he is right now. And you could tell that that problem just comes with his command. He really is struggling to just command the outside edges. You'll see Cal set up outside and all of a sudden it's an inside fastball that the guy drives. So for Luis, his biggest problem is just being able to put guys away and be able to just command those outside edges. Like I said previously, he'll be just fine. He usually gets off to kind of a slow start anyway. But again, going over some of why he's struggling so far, that is one of his biggest problems is just his command and his overall whiff rate. So now let's move into George Kirby, who does have a similar problem to Luis Castillo, but with George, it's a little different because he has one other thing that batters are starting to pick up on. So far in 2024, George Kirby is 1-2. He has pitched 14.1 innings. He has an 8.16 K per 9, a 1.26 walk per 9, a 0.63 home run per 9, and his ERA is sitting at 6.91. For George, besides his first start against the Boston Red Sox where he absolutely shoved, he has not done well since. So for George, in terms of whiff rate, he is also down in his whiff rate percentage from 2020 2023, he had a 22.9%. Now in 2024, he has a 20.3%. So about a 2.6% drop off so far. But for George, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. So while George Kirby's walk rate is a little bit up this year, he still commands the zone very well. He's very known for being able to command the zone. So for George Kirby, his walk rate is up a little bit so far this year, but with George's ability to command the zone, he does a great job at working the edges. But unfortunately, when you play in the MLB, they have all this statistical data, so they know that George Kirby is going to be right around the zone every time he's pitching. So the statistics show that batters are just waiting for George Kirby to be anywhere in the zone, and they're being extremely aggressive on him. So far in 2024, George Kirby's first pitch strike percentage is up 0.6%. As we know, he's an extremely accurate pitcher, so this is nothing unexpected. But in turn, first pitch swing percentage is currently up 5.8% from 2023. So batters are being extremely aggressive at George Kirby. And just to go deeper into how aggressive these batters are being and to really show you guys how this is why he's struggling, because he's commanding the zone well, but he's also putting everything in the strike zone. So batters are being very aggressive when in the box. In the third inning, when he was against the Blue Jays the other night and he really struggled, he threw 36 pitches in that inning and the Blue Jays swung at 30 of them. 30. That is insane. And why did they swing at 30 of them? Because they know George Kirby is going to be always around the plate. That's just the type of pitcher he is. So with George Kirby, it's a little different than Luis Castillo because George Kirby almost has too much command and he's too much around the plate. So batters are trying to take advantage of that. And again, I don't think George should stray away from this strategy. It's worked for him for how long now? But if batters are going to be this aggressive and the whiff percentage is going to be dropping, then it's obviously not going to be a good thing for George Kirby. So I'm sure both of them will be just fine going throughout the season. They will not be struggling for this long. Again, there's not really much in the data that's really worrying to me. It's just besides the whiff percentage that they can't put away guys, which you can just tell when watching the games. But I kind of just wanted to go over some of the reasons why these two are struggling this year, because obviously it is a big question mark for a lot of people that why our ace Luis Castillo is struggling and George Kirby has struggled his past two starts. But again, they will be just fine, and hopefully they can use the momentum after yesterday's start from Logan Gilbert and the offense finally picking it up in extra innings into this weekend. But let me know some reasons why you think Luis Castillo or George Kirby is kind of struggling so far this season. But otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.